You can train your swing, you can increase your arm velocity, but there's one thing that college baseball coaches that you simply cannot fake. And if you don't have it, your chances are ultimately going to start shrinking before your eyes. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the one quality that separates the average high school baseball player from the ones that ultimately get recruited. And before we get started, my name is Evan Mendoza. I have 7 years of professional baseball experience between the St. Louis Cardinals and San Diego Padres and played 3 years at the D1 level. If you're serious about having your son become a leader on the team, click the link down below in the description to apply to work one-on-one with me. So you're probably wondering by now, what is this one thing? And ultimately, it comes down to the intangibles. Yes, there's other aspects of who you are and what you bring to the table as far as your playing profile, like your skills and your certain metrics, but sometimes these intangibles just simply go a long way. So let's talk about 3 intangibles that I think are very valuable, especially when talking to high school baseball players and seeing them either strive for playing in college or some that just kind of crumble and go into the fetal position. So first and foremost, number 1, accountability. Accountability is obviously huge, and making sure that you take ownership into what we're actually doing, what that path looks like, what that strategy looks like, because ultimately when it comes to high school baseball players, and it's the simple reason that I work with only high school baseball players, is they need to have that accountability to do the work. That's the reason why my students are so successful, is because all of my students are vetted. They are serious about the game of baseball. I don't have to, baby feed them. I don't need to hold their hand as they walk across the street. They don't need to ask me for permission to do the work that I give them. They are go-getters. So that is the exact reason why my academy works. It's remote, by the way, and that accountability is a very critical and crucial part of it all. And ultimately, college coaches don't want players that are constantly making excuses on why they can't do this and they can't do that. That's just going to leave a bad taste in their mouth as far as who your son is. Is your son really the person that is always going to be late to practices, is always going to have an excuse, or is he the one that takes accountability for why he wasn't on time, or making sure that he's always 15 minutes early so he's never late? These are the things that coaches ultimately are looking for, and they go a long way. And this, of course, that accountability, it translates over to the field as well. Like if your son, strikes out or makes an error out there on the field, how does he respond? Is he taking that accountability for messing up, or saying my bad to the pitcher if he's the shortstop and boots the ball? These are the little things that coaches will see and respect, and almost like a tip of the hat of wow, I respect that he's a young guy. He's a high school baseball player, but at the end of the day, he knows that he messed up. He did a subtle my bad. He hits his chest, my bad, and then ultimately he moves on to that next play, because we can't be getting wrapped up into the previous play. It's all about that next play, especially on defense, and you making errors, always thinking about that next play. All right, let's talk about the intangible number 2, which is the emotional maturity, which is kind of what I was just hitting on, is, when we make errors, when we make mistakes, how mature are we with our emotions, and do we have our emotions in control? And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, there are plenty of high school baseball players that have no emotion. They scream cuss words where everyone in the whole field or stadium can hear, and that's just gonna leave a very sour taste again in these coaches' mind on who you are, right? At the end of the day, you get to represent yourself in many different ways, an unlimited amount of ways technically out there on the baseball field. And if you're constantly just showing that negative, immature emotion, it's not going to lead you any further than just high school baseball. And yes, college baseball coaches will always want for the emotionally stable players. They're mature, but can your player actually lead when he's down? Can he lead the team when he's not performing the best? And think about it like this, guys. I mean, there are players at the top of the league. I think right now, Bryce Harper is not having the best year of his career, but at the end of the day, he's still a leader in that clubhouse. And even though he's not performing, he's still able to lead that team successfully with the Phillies, right? So this is a huge area that even if your son's not performing, is he still truly a leader? And can he even lead when his back's against the wall? And what I have written here right now is coaches are looking for players who are calm, composed, and always coachable. And tell me that that's not true. And by the way, if you want your son to work one-on-one with me inside my remote training program, so that way he can become a leader and he is coachable and he is calm with his emotions, let's learn those things together inside my remote training program. Click the link down below to apply to work one-on-one with me. All right, intangible number 3 is the team first mentality. mentality. And this is ultimately going to show and kind of, plays right into that emotionally stable, that leadership quality. Having that team first mentality is huge, because at the end of the day, baseball is an individual sport. Yes, your performance individually can be great, but if you're not picking up your team and if you're not leading them in the right way, this is where college coaches can sniff that out, and they don't want those players that are selfish for that college baseball program. Guys, one of my favorite years of playing baseball was 2015. It was my sophomore year of college. It was when I was consistently getting playing time. I was a starter just about every single game. And the reason that I loved college baseball so much, and the reason that I am even doing the Mendoza Baseball Academy, is because I want every single one of my students to experience college baseball. It is by far the most fun you'll ever have in baseball. And I've played 7 years of professional baseball. I've been in big league spring training. I've been able to rub shoulders with guys like Yadier Molina, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, like just to name a few. I promise you guys, college baseball is so much fun because we're all pulling in the same direction. Whereas pro ball, yes, there's a lot more of the individual side of things. Yes, I never really made it to the playoffs in the MLB or, in the postseason or in a World Series, but I can imagine the World Series is that one time that it replicates college baseball. Everyone pulling in the same direction, everyone giving it their all for the team's sake, because ultimately to win a World Series, it's not about who hits 4 home runs in a game. It's who scores more runs than the other team. So ultimately, coaches will always be seeing if you're celebrating your other teammates and you're showing up for them. Be the guy that everybody trusts. Everybody on your team, all the coaching staff on your travel ball or high school team, they trust you, and ultimately that trust is going to radiate out to the college coaches watching your games as well. At the end of the day, guys, leaders get recruited and lone wolves get ignored. And like I said, guys, that one thing that you just simply cannot fake is that leadership. And you also can't hide that selfishness. College coaches are going to always want players that make the entire team better on the field, in the dugout, and in the clubhouse. If your son is ready to become that player, click the link down below to apply to work one-on-one with me, where I teach my players the triple play, which is the physical development, the mental development, and the recruiting guidance. So if that interests you at the very slightest, go down below in the description to click that link and apply to work one-on-one with me for your high school baseball player to turn into a college prospect.